Hello Tech Genius, I am Ravi. Have you ever imagined a place where learning is as dynamic as the technology shaping your world? Then here's a deal. With iMatix, you can make sure the learning is exciting, impactful right from the beginning. You have interactive sessions with expert-led courses. In the world of tech, from data science to cloud computing, it's not just about a session, it's about doing, building, learning by solving real problems. So let's get started. Basically, this preventive history is nothing but we were attaching a workflow. What we are doing here, let's say if Kevin is a person, right? Kevin, he joined the company named ZROs. Here he is working as an employee and his role is in HR for creating invoice. Creating invoice means the sponsor of Kevin is preparing the salary card for each employee. Kevin used to prepare the salary card for each employee. What happened now? You know there was another employee, right? His name is Lara, who used to manage this salary card. Once Kevin prepared the salary card right, Lara used to approve this salary card. Once the salary card is approved, then the salary was prepared and it was sent to all the employee individuals, right? Now what happened? Lara, when because of Shemeshu or no, she was fallen sick. Now she is in vacation. She said, like Lara said to Kevin, Kevin, now you should or you can please manage my job for a few days, right? Once I'm back, I'll take it hand in. Now, as a part of Lara which is handling this approval part, Kevin has requested for this approval application, right? Now Kevin approval and he has, raised the request for this salary card approval. And now Kevin, right, he submitted the request. Earlier he was creating invoice. Now he has tried to submit the request for approving invoice role as well, right? Now the moment Kevin right raised for this access right before it go to approval, it should get terminated immediately. Terminate immediately as a part of preventive history. Preventive history, what it mean? Before any violation occur, right? Because creating invoice and approving invoice both are a violation. A single person shouldn't have access to both the system creating an invoice. If somebody has both the system, they can create their own salary card. Kevin can to draw 50 crore. He can create a salary card for himself and he can approve it for himself. And then the salary would get created. Him and he can do a biggest threat to the company, right? That is why this create invoice and approving invoice, it is a biggest violation. It shouldn't be there in the system. To occur that or before occurring this violation, we should stop it. How we can stop it? Through the preventive history. How the preventive history work? Let's say this is we are talking about preventive history. Preventive history. What will happen if this is entitlement 1 creating invoice? Another entitlement, this is ENT2, ENT entitlement 2 approving invoice. Now I'm telling if somebody has already access to ENT1, this shouldn't have access to ENT2. Or if in T2 somebody has access, this shouldn't have access to entirement 2. Entirement 1 for approving. If somebody has, he cannot create invoice. If somebody can create invoice, he cannot approve the invoice. If Kelvin as a person, right, he want to have access for this entirement 1 or entirement 2, right? I can stop this access or I can stop him, right? Once he submit the request, right, before it process, I can stop him through the workflow, right? These two entirement 1 and entirement 2 for creating invoice over approving invoice. This must be belongs to some application, right? Let's say this belongs to a HR application, right? Because any entitlement, right, this should have a parent and that entitlement belongs to your HR application. Where HR application will be showing you all your salary card for creating an invoice, approving an invoice, and this belongs to HR application. What will happen first? Kelvin, if he has already access to this or he want to get access to the create invoice, he should raise access to this application first, right? Error application. Once this HR application, he had to cut right after cut. Next he can choose the entirement 1 or entirement 2. But first he has to choose this application, HR application. Once he select the HR application and he select this to entitlement, and when he submit the request, right, immediately the workflow will trigger. That workflow I will be attaching to the HRMEMS application, this HR application. The workflow will check if this entitlement to entitlement contain any Saudi or not. It will check against Saudi segregation of duty. If this entitlement 1 or entitlement 2 contain any Saudi, then the request will get auto reject. KVL will not get access to this entitlement 1 anymore because there is a Saudi workflow will reject it. Now, in our case, what we consider if we go to the system and have a check, we said this is our Active Directory demo application. Under this application, I have two rows. One is Flow Manager. I said if Kelvin has access to Flow HR, he shouldn't have access to Flow Manager. If both the entitlement he has, that will be called as a violation or segregation of duty violation. To stop that, I have implemented preventive Saudi right. I said preventive Saudi can be stopped right using your endpoint level to throw a workflow right. Active Directory demo application, right? If I open this application, go to your security system, or how I can go to admin, go to here identity repository, open your security system, right? Open the application Active Directory demo. In the application demo, right, Active Directory demo, I have an access word workflow, right? What is the workflow name? Active Directory Manager. Workflow is there, right? In this Active Directory Manager workflow, I'll check first if the user has any Saudi violation or not, whatever he is requesting, right? Now I'll go to Active Directory Manager workflow. How I can go to the workflow? Let me give a duplicate tab. Come back to your admin model. Go to here. Open your workflow. Go to workflow list, right? What is the workflow we saw attached to the security system? Active Directory Manager workflow. Now come back here, open the Active Directory Manager workflow. Once you go back, edit the workflow. We gave a condition here, right? First, Whenever any user is submitting request, it will seek the condition right if the request contains any SOD or not. What is the condition I'm giving? So greater than 0. Zoo means nothing. I'll say you have 0 rupees. What does it mean? You don't have anything, right? Greater than 0 means you should have some number. That is what I am mentioning. Sound greater than 0. That means Saudi. If Saudi is present, what will happen? The request, right? See, from this outcome condition, if there is true output, this is true, this is false. If this is true means there is a Saudi present. I'm mapping it to reject part. If there is no Saudi, right? This is the SOD is false. I'm mapping it to the manager, approval. If there is no Saudi present, right, it will go for the manager approval, right? How I'll know that Saudi is present or not for these two entire line, right? I said this Active Directory. There are two interments. One is scene equal to flow richer and there is scene equal to flow renter. What I did, right, we created a function, right? How the function we created? I said we are talking about Saudi, right? Saudi part of driven diff. Remember how I can configure Saudi? Saudi consists of three things. One is your role set, one is your risk, one is your function. Let's say we saw two interments we had for Active Directory, right? Active Directory application, we have two interments. One is Flow HR, another was Flow Manager. These two interments are, I said, if somebody has this interment, he shouldn't have this interment. If both the interments present, this will be a violation or Saudi violation. What I need to do? I said Saudi consists of three things: role, set risk and prevent function. This function actually contains your entitlement details. I should prepare two functions like this. Function 1, I can attach the first entitlement as flow. Here, right? Flow HR, I can create another function, function 2. I can mention this entitlement like floor manager. I mentioned here floor HR and floor manager. This is function and this is function 2. These two functions I'll be attaching to my risk. I'll say I'll define a risk. I'll give a name that this is Active Directory risk. And this risk I'll be attaching to my role set. Finally, this role set, I'll be attaching it. This role set is nothing but this, it's called your violation. I'll give a name Active Directory or Active Directory violation. This role set is nothing but called as a violation. If I want to create a violation or role set, I'll be attaching this role set to a risk, right? This risk and this risk, I have to attach it to function. Basically, I have two functions, function and function 2. I'm attaching it to risk and this risk is attached to your role set. If I go inside the vim, right, if I go to, I'll give a duplicate tab. Now if I go to back, go to admin. Now go to your Saudi model, right? In the Saudi model, if you see, if you expand this menu under the role set, we have creating role set, risk and function. We created two functions, right? If I give active type active, you can see these two functions we created as to write. This is function 1 floor manager active directory demo. If I open this function, control plus open write, and open the second one, these are the two functions we created, right? In the first function, I gave a function name and I mentioned the entire element scene equal to floor manager. This is function 1. In the function 2 floor HR active directory demo, what I did, I mentioned another entire element floor HR. Once I mention these two functions, what I am doing in the end, right? I am attaching these two functions to a role set or to a risk. These are the two. If I type floor, these two risks. Or these two functions I have been attaching to a risk. If I go to risk, in the active directory demo, if you open this, you can see in the function 1, I have attached one function that is floor H, our directory demo. In the function 2, I am attaching floor manager active demo. If you believe you have more than 2 or 5 entitlement which can cause violation, you can attach up to 5 functions they have given here. You can create another function which has like a violation. You can create another function, up to 5 function you can create, and you can attach it to your risk. Once your risk is prepared, I can finally attach this risk to my role set. This role set, active directory demo, right? This is a violation. Open this role set. What is it still in? This role set, this is for active directory demo, and what is the risk attached to it? The risk name is active directory demo. Now the risk is present, right? What I can do, right? I can simply create a workflow. This workflow I have created right in the Active Directory Manager workflow. First, I am checking if there is a S3D container or not whenever I am giving a request. If that request contains an SAUD, then it should directly reject the request. And this workflow, it is configured right in my Active Directory application. If I go to Security System, open Active Directory Demo Application, and here I have what has that workflow. Now, if I go ahead and raise the request for any user for these two entitlement right, how I can do that? I will go to here, I will go to ARs, request access further. Let's say I will choose a user, this user, and I will submit a request. I click on next. Now I will type my application Active Directory Demo, click add to cut right. Click on checkout. Now, as I said, the violation will occur if I add both the entitlement. Let me go ahead and add both the entitlement. Once I added both, click on next. I will be writing business justification, some justification, and after writing some justification, right? I already know it is already showing both you have a segregation of bilateral destitute violation found. The Active Directory demo this entitlement, like if you see an equal flow register, it is conflicting with your entitlement flow manager. But still I am submitting the request. Let me submit the request. The request is submitted now, right? If I go to view status, let's see what happened to the request. If I go ahead already, it was showing violation is present. The rest is already causing the issue, and this entitlement is causing the issue. If I go down, it is linked with violation found right. If I go down right, all my tasks are rejected. Create an account and your entitlement is all rejected. Because there is a violation is there and we are stopping it at the workflow level. The silly mistake what we are doing in the SD, SOD, I have mentioned it like in a small letter SOD. This would be capital SOD space greater than that is GT space 0. If I mention that easily, it will catch up. There is a violation, right? If you clearly show this entitlement has a significant right C. There is a localization SOD is there. While the request is submitting, it is shaking against this entitlement. There is a Saudi is there. That is how it is getting cut and it is rejecting your request. It's not letting you approve it. If it would have there, it would have gone to your manager for approval. As this is a violation, it is simply rejecting your request. This is how, you can generate the preventive Saudi right. The moment you submit the request, it will not allow you to let you submit the request. Yesterday we saw how you can do detective right. If your workflow is not there, let's say if I am simply removing this workflow, right? Before removing the workflow, I will completely remove the workflow. What I will do? I will go to security system. Instead of this workflow, I will make it as an auto approve. Auto approve workload means some successful workflow. Now update it. I change the workflow. If I go to request and submit a new request, request access for other right. Let me choose this user. Go to next and choose your application activity demo. Click add to cart. Check it out and add these two entitlements who are part of your violation right. Next, just write some comment here. That should be business justification right. There is a violation. It is asking. That's why business justification and you submit the request. Now, if you submit the request, go to view status right. You see there is a violation already, but you raise the request right. And it is saying clearly violation is there and the auto approve task generated for you. It is auto approve. Now if you go to the task is about created. And this is for your Active Directory account, right? Let me approve this request now. I will go to the job control panel. Click on the utility. Go back to your USE dry job. Click on action and start. Select your application Active Directory demo. Show more right. Here give new account, add access and submit it. Let's wait for a minute to get it finished. Press. This job is finished now, right? If I go ahead and check the request, right, the request would have auto approved or it is approved. The task is processed. Just refresh the menu, right? Once you refresh and come down, you will see go to the task, right, and the task is completed. Now this user, right, she has the access to this both comp sheeting and title, right? If I go now open the user, go to your admin, click on the field add active directory, click on user and filter the user. Now open the user, go to account tab. In the account tab, let's open the active directory demo. Once you open it, go to the associated entitlement and you will see this both entitlement present. Now there is a violation already there, right? Because both the entitlements are a part of your violation. How I can detect that? If you simply go to SOD model, if you scroll down, you will see the SOD will be generated. It will say there is an active directory demo risk. The risk name is there and the risk is there. If you open this, it will clearly tell you violation risk, active directory found. For this function, and this function has an entitlement of this entitlement flow register. And you have flow manager. Now how you can mitigate the violation or how can submit the request to remove this or to remove the violation? Simply you can either go and click on the remediate option that it will ask you to remove one of the entitlements which you don't require. Click on any of the entitlement, click on remediate, now confirm it and a task will generate for you. If you go to ARs, go to your pending task. Now you see for Susan remove access task got created, right? Now if you go to the job control panel provisioning job, right? Click start now, active directory demo option. Here you have to give remove access, right? The task type, it was remove access. After giving, click on submit and wait for a second and the task will get processed. Now the conflicting access for the user search, then it will get removed. This is how we are dealing with your SOD model. Let me show you something more, right? On a new things or how we can do an analytic report. Let's say that the task is processed. If I refresh it, say the task is gone, right? If you come back to your SOD, you see there will be no violation present. The violation is gone. As discussing about a new topic, let's say analytic report, right? Why this report is needed? Sometime when you are working for a company, let's say your manager asked or something like, hey Susan, I want to see how many users are present, right? How many users are present in my company? Who are already inactive, but they have active account. What does it mean? Inactive users having active account? The main is if this is your saving system, right? And HR onboarded a user. Let's say the user name is Kelvin, right? The Kelvin user got onboarded to your saving system through a user input. And Kelvin onboarded to your access norm. And now, as a part of work, right, Kelvin got access to your Active Directory application, and he has access to this application as a floor. After working for some time, let's say for 1 or 2 years, Kelvin left the company. He got a new job. Ideally, what happened? If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.